is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
Prior to last night, it had been since 2014 that the Reds have won 3 consecutive series, and today they'll go after a 3-game sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks on a sunny afternoon at GABP on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone, alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. I'm Jim Day. Thanks for joining us for Reds baseball. Coming out of the break, the Reds closing out a 9-game homestand today and facing 3 teams down in the standings like the Reds, teams that you would hope they would take care of business at home. They have done that, and you got to earn it on the field, and the numbers back it up. They have earned it.
Yeah, they have, Jim. You look at whatever it be, offense, catching the baseball, the pitching. I mean, look at the numbers since the All-Star break. And granted, this is a very small sample size, but it tells you something about where the Reds are headed, at least you hope so. And having this type of numbers here at home and then heading out west to play San Francisco and San Diego, boy, you really hope that this is the kind of baseball that we'll see from the Reds in the second half.
The offensive numbers are up as well, and leading the way is Joey Votto. Red hot.
Yeah, you go away from Votto, he slaps it into left field. You come in, he pulls it down the right field line. You leave it up, well, we know where those go. The thing about Votto is you can try to go up in the strike zone, you can try to bounce the ball at the plate. He's going to take it. He's going to end up walking. And when you do come across the plate, even a fastball down and away, as we saw in Game 1, he hits it in the seats. He is smoking.
Smoking hot today, and that's what the starting pitchers will have to deal with. Attrition could be a factor today, and Brandon Finnegan gets the ball, and Cowboy, the Reds, looking for him to eat up some more innings.
Yeah, they are, Jim, but I think you're exactly right. I mean, Finnegan has only gotten through 5 innings only one time in his last 5 starts, and I know Brandon Finnegan is a big competitor. He wants to be able to show that he can start. This is a big day for him. Hot or not, he's going to be competing. He's going to be pushing to get to that 6 innings.
One of the keys to 2 straight victories over Arizona is handling the guys in the middle of that lineup, and the Reds have controlled Paul Goldschmidt and Jake Lamb in this series.
Yeah, both of these guys had a difficult time in Game 1 and Game 2, and you look even at 3, 4, and 5 in the order for the Diamondbacks, 1 for 19, regardless of who they've hit behind Jake Lamb. Lamb out of the lineup tonight, probably because he's not swinging the bat very well, and that ought to tell you something about this Reds pitching right now.
It's a special day in the land of baseball. From Cincinnati to Cooperstown, Ken Griffey Jr. will take his rightful place amongst the immortals. Coming up, that story on the other side with Jeff Piecoro.
Well, here we go again, another hot one at Great American Ballpark. This time with the earlier game time, it's looking like the heat will be a bit more. We're seeing highs right around 93 degrees, which, by the way, is what we hit yesterday. But when you factor in how humid it is, it feels more like 100 to 105 degrees. Make sure you drink plenty of water there at Great American Ballpark. Thanks for coming out tonight. Enjoy the game.
He's about as close to the prototypical five-tool players I've ever seen in baseball, and that's no disrespect to anybody else. But boy, if you saw Ken Griffey Jr. in Seattle, you were blessed, because he was something special.
Well, I'll tell you what, no place you would rather be today than in Cooperstown, New York. Induction ceremonies for the Hall of Fame. It's simply a fantastic occasion. If you have the chance to do it, you must go up there. Well, of course, we're talking about Ken Griffey Jr. I tell you what, between his junior and senior year at Moeller High School, he matured physically. He really grew into his body, and the ball just exploded off of his bat to the tune of a .478 career average at Moeller. That is the highest in the history of Moeller High School, and there have been some great players to come through Moeller. As a matter of fact, it brings us to our Lowe's home field advantage. And we're going to look at high schools with multiple Hall of Fame members. Notice all of them are California, with the exception of Moeller High School here in Cincinnati with Larkin and Griffey. And look at the names on that list: Seaver and Chance, DiMaggio, Lazzari, Lombardi, Robinson, Howman, and Cronin, all from California with the exception of the top two. Be proud, Cincinnati. Today is a day that Cincinnati is in the spotlight in Cooperstown. He'll go in with the Mariners hat on, but that won't dampen the enthusiasm. Well, the Reds are looking for a sweep. They are off to a great start in the second half, and they look to end the homestand on a high note with the sweep of Arizona. The game is up next.
Brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Reds and D-backs closing out a three-game weekend set. A couple of changes in the Diamondbacks lineup today. Segura will lead off. Phil Goslin hitting in the 2 spot today. Goldschmidt hitting 3rd. Jake Lamb off today, so Ricky Weeks Jr. will hit 4th. Wellington Castillo back behind the plate after a night off last night. Chris Owings will make his 3rd start coming off the DL. Brandon Drury, Yasmani Tomas, and Zach Godley on the hill for Arizona. Brandon Finnegan. Last 2 starts are wins despite being unable to pitch longer than 5 innings.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with deep pitch counts, the inability to stay ahead in the count for some batters, and a lot of times for Finnegan, it's not being able to put a hitter away when he gets ahead in the count. Hopefully he'll be able to harness that this afternoon.
He could have a tough task today as he faces Jean Segura in the first pitch on the way, outside for ball 1, and this game is underway. 91-degree first pitch temperature, and it feels a lot hotter than that. Heat index up above the century mark. And Finnegan could have a tough task today in that the Diamondbacks are 6th in all of Major League Baseball in team average versus left-handed pitching. They have done well against lefties.
Well, the best way to combat an offense that swings well against left-handed pitching is to get ahead in the count. If you're throwing strike 1 all afternoon, you're going to put the offense on the defensive right away.
2-1 pitch to Segura, fouled back. Segura led off this series Friday night with a home run. 2 for 3 Friday night. Last night, 1 for 3, single, stolen base, scored a run.
He's been the first inning key for the Diamondbacks. It's about the only time they're scoring runs is right here off the bat.
Scored 2 in the first on Friday, put a run on the board in the first yesterday. And a deep pitch count already. 3 balls, 2 strikes. This will be a rosin bag kind of day. And the 3-2 pitch upstairs and walked him. Not the start you're looking for. Sixteenth walk to lead off an inning this season for Brandon Finnegan. That is tied for 3rd most in all of Major League Baseball.
Well, when you look at the numbers for Finnegan, 54 walks and 106 1/3 innings pitched. You cannot, you absolutely cannot live as a starter with that type of split.
First pitch to Phil Gosselin. Gosselin 0 for 2 in this series and getting his first start here today in the series. .292 hitter over his last 19 games is Gosselin. Brandon Finnegan making his first career appearance versus Arizona. It's his 20th start of the season today. 2nd start of the so-called second half. 8 times in 19 starts he's allowed 2 earned runs or fewer. 14 times he's allowed 3 earned runs or fewer. One-two pitch up the middle. Phillips off his glove into center field. Phillips had to go long way to his right and couldn't come up with the backhanded play.
And Phillips ranged to his right, had to go down to his knee just to try to backhand the ball.
That is a play we normally see Brandon make.
But his feet got just tangled up just a bit as he started to go to the ground.
Now trouble brewing. 2 on, nobody out, and Paul Goldschmidt at the plate. There goes the runners, both of them. Throw down to third base from Cabrera, and he's out.
They may challenge that.
double steal, and Cabrera came up firing to third. Call on the field is out. Manager Chip Hale to the top step. They'll take a look.
There's no doubt that the throw beats Segura to the bag. But you have to wonder if DeJesus got the tag there in time. It did not appear that he did.
Oh.
Segura got his hand to the left field side of the bag, and DeJesus tagged the ground. I think he's going to be safe.
They're taking a long time to decide whether or not to challenge this. Now, finally, they will challenge it. Tell you what, you get spoiled. The Reds, Rob Conklin down there, he does a very quick job.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Seems like Coughlin is on it ASAP, almost anticipating the play before it happens. But we saw this very similar play in the first inning yesterday with Billy Hamilton sliding into second base, and Segura, the man that's involved in this play here, tagging the ground. Hamilton pulled the hand away and slid to the outside. But you watch DeJesus there. He takes the tag down straight to the ground. He didn't swipe tag, and without the swipe, you don't get the back part of the bag. I think he's going to be safe.
I do as well. Crew chief Jerry Davis on the horn to New York, as well as third base umpire Rob Drake.
Chip Hale trying to make something happen here early. He's got his big fella at the plate.
This really shouldn't take this long.
I just don't think he ever got the glove to the jersey.
Check the back end of this. Does his hand come off the base?
Well, the hand may have come off the base, but his left foot hooked the base as he got into the bag.
That perhaps is what's taken so long. Checking out both sides of the play. And he's out.
Wow, how about that?
Wow.
That's a big break for the Reds right there.
Tell you what, Segura was surprised as anyone.
See the tag of the ground, then to the player.
Wow. Well, in New York, and I've been in that replay center, they have the ability to blow up the play and get a closer look, and perhaps the ground ball to Phillips has time to recover, retire Paul Goldschmidt. So what looked like could have been a second and third no out situation, all of a sudden 2 outs and a runner on third. Check out the forward defensive lineup for the Reds. The changes in there. Typical outfield, Duvall, Hamilton, and Bruce. DeJesus Jr. getting the start for Suarez today at third. Jose Peraza giving Zach Cozart a spell, day game after night game. Phillips at second, Votto at first. Ramon Cabrera hanging the signs for Brandon Finnegan. By the way, the call stands on that replay, which means there was not enough video evidence to overturn it. And just like the Diamondbacks have done in the first 2 games of this series, they draw first blood. Ricky Weeks, RBI single.
How many times over the years have we seen Ricky Weeks come to the plate, first pitch fastball, and he does that?
Well, it
got a couple of youngsters you got a youngster on the mound, you got a youngster behind the plate, but that's not how you pitch Ricky Weeks.
Well, it would seem like there would be memories in the memory bank that Ricky Weeks likes a first pitch fastball.
You would think that the scouting report would tell you something a little bit different, and they would have ironed this into the head of both Finnegan and the catcher Cabrera, and it just didn't happen.
First thing I wanted to note today was what is Ricky Weeks' career numbers against the Reds. Now, the average, not going to knock anyone's socks off, 277, but he's had some clutch hits and certainly some clutch home runs. 20 home runs in 69 games and 60 starts. That's tied for the most versus any opponent, along with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Ricky Weeks has been a first pitch fastball hitter from the first day he put on a baseball uniform, and it has never change, not one time.
There's been a bit of a fall from grace as we look at Wellington Castillo in a 1-0 pitch. Ricky Weeks was the starting second baseman in the 2011 All-Star game. And all of a sudden it was a massive fall from grace.
When he tore his ankle up, it seemed like it affected his balance at the plate, his ability to move at second base, and he just never was able to recover physically. Still swing the bat a little bit, but just can't move the way he did early in his career.
Saw him so long. That Brewers uniform out at second base. He's playing left field today. Wellington Castillo is one of those guys that likes to face lefties. .338 clip in 2016 against the Southpaws. Suarez, that ball, DeJesus, and that ball ate him up.
Just a routine ground ball to third base. And when you get in between on the hop and you don't get in front of the baseball, that's what happens.
It's an E5. Third error of the season for DeJesus Jr. So now a first and second situation, and Finnegan trying to limit the damage to only one. Chris Owings at the plate. Ryan said earlier, Chris Owings making his third start of the series. It's his second start. Activated from the disabled list yesterday. Plantar fasciitis in the foot, and that's a painful one.
Oh.
Yesterday, Owings, first time up, hit the first pitch he saw off the DL for an RBI single. Stole a base, ended up being 1 for 4 on the day.
Plantar fasciitis feels as though somebody is taking an ice pick and putting it in the bottom of your foot, and it just won't go away. Every time your foot hits the floor, that's what it feels like.
Have you had someone put an ice pick in the bottom of your foot?
No, but I've had the reaction from that plantar syndrome, and it is not fun.
It's one of those injuries that can linger as well.
You look at Albert Pujols, he's had it seemingly forever.
Yep.
Was able to play through it early in his career, and a lot of times it requires surgery for guys, and they never come back. I can remember Rusty Greer out in Texas, one of the hardest playing baseball players I've been around, and he got it in both feet, and it just took his career away.
It remains no balls, 2 strikes to Chris Owings, who nowadays is playing more outfield than he does infield.
Shortstop, second baseman by trade. But this is what the Diamondbacks have kind of been forced to do. They've had to put infielders in the outfield, catchers in the outfield.
Playing center today, his 43rd start in center field. And this is the first time playing the outfield this year in the major leagues. Owings into left field. Duvall's got it. And Finnegan indeed limits the damage to 1. Diamondbacks score first. We'll see if the Reds can rally. Back from an early deficit Friday after a first inning 2-spot put on the board. Joey Votto took care of business with a 3-run home run in the bottom half of the inning. Yesterday, Diamondbacks scored 1. A 2-run error by Lamb allowed 2 runs to score, and Brandon Phillips with an RBI hit. Reds led 3-1 after the first yesterday, and today, similar story. 1 run on the board for the D-backs. We'll see what the Reds could do here in the bottom half of the first. Billy Hamilton will lead it off. Zach Cozart with the day off. Jose Peraza hitting second. Otto Bruce and Duvall right in the middle. Brandon Phillips, Ivan De Jesus Jr. For Suarez today, Ramon Cabrera, Brandon Finnegan 8 and 9. On the hill, 26-year-old right-handed pitcher Zach Godley.
Hard sinking fastball. This kid will compete, and he will fight you tooth and nail for everything that you're going to get. 6'3", 240. He's a biggin.
He's a biggin. Godley, perhaps appropriate. He's pitching on Sunday. Billy Hamilton, right center field, and it'll drop. Billy continues his hot hitting.
Well, I'll say it again. Stay hot, Billy.
Yes, sir.
Stay hot. A breaking ball. Now, Hamilton didn't hit it on the screws, but you just hit it where the defense is not at.
Well, buckle up your seatbelts. Could see some Billy ball here.
Well, this creates a good situation for a hitter like Peraza because he can shoot the ball the other way. You've got a nice big hole on the right side of the infield.
Peraza getting the start at shortstop today. Steps in the .250 average, still seeking his first major league home run. 6 runs driven in. He's yet to have an extra base hit as well this season. Puts the ball on the bat. Foul territory. Will there be room? There will not.
And talking about the home runs, I think for Peraza, he's the type of player, especially coming off the bench and not getting regular playing time. He's not going to overswing. He's going to stay within himself. His approach is to shoot the ball right back up the middle or through the right side of the infield. You're not going to see him really cheat on pitches, but I would imagine as if he plays every day, you would see that more times than not when you get 3 or 4 at bats every day.
Plays off an 0-2 pitch, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mean, we've seen Peraza a lot of times where it seems like after 2 pitches he's fighting for a 2-strike hit because he's got to see some pitches simply coming off the bench a lot. Really like to see this kid get some kind of regular playing time somehow, some way.
Hamilton with the team leading 31 steals and now a 7-game hitting streak. That just sounds good. Hamilton, 7-game hitting streak.
He's led off every ball game in this series with a single in the bottom of the first inning.
Yep.
It's come out to score both times in game 1 and game 2. It's part of the reason the Reds have been able to win the first 2 ball games.
Good eye by Peraza. Billy had 3 steals here Friday night. Two balls, 2 strikes to Jose Peraza. Ground ball. Only play is to first with Hamilton running to second base. So it's an out, but he advances Billy into scoring position.
talked about this in game 1 of this series. Castillo has caught Hamilton more than anyone else. 5 times, I believe, he's caught Billy Hamilton trying to steal. And it appeared in game 1 that he had caught him in the first inning, but Hamilton had a little trick up his sleeve, left sleeve, as a matter of fact, as he pulled that left hand away and jabbed the right hand in.
That was unbelievably beautiful slide.
Quite instinctive.
All right, Votto's got one sitting out there. So get Hamilton to third with 2 outs in the inning. Here's your forward defensive lineup for the Diamondbacks. Ricky Weeks Jr. out in left field. Owings in center. Tomas in right. Drury, Segura, Goslin, Goldschmidt. Around the infield, Wellington, Castillo. Battery mate with Zach Godley. There's Owings coming off of that plantar fasciitis injury.
Got a third baseman in right field, shortstop in center, and a second baseman by trade in left.
Jay Bruce now riding a 5-game hitting streak. And a big shift in Floyd. 69 runs driven in, 4th most in the National League. Drury will do his best to hold Hamilton as close as possible at third base. One should get away from Castillo. Well, this time Billy can take the lead he wants.
Well, for Drury, you're kind of in no man's land at the spot you're at now. But if you play any further away, you run the risk of Hamilton just flat stealing home.
Yep. 3-0 pitch to Bruce. In there for a strike.
Really looks like Godley is trying to cut every pitch here in the early going.
Walked him. 5-pitch walk to Jay Bruce. And now first and third, 2 outs for Adam Duvall.
Red's got to get this guy going again.
Yep.
Not the home run ball, just getting back to that right center, left center swing that he had to begin the season.
23 home runs are 5th most in the National League, but on the homestand 5 for 24. Does have 3 doubles, 3 runs driven in. There goes Bruce from first. Not even a throw with Hamilton down at third base. Well, base number 4 for Bruce, and you don't even want to risk a throw with Hamilton at third, because if you throw it down there, he's coming home.
It'll have to be a crisp play if you throw to second, as we saw with Owings yesterday. He cut it off, with Votto trying to do the same thing Bruce did there.
The good news for the Reds with Duvall in a little bit of a lull, as other guys have picked it up around him. Jay Bruce has continued his consistent season. Joey Votto is on fire. Hamilton, 7-game hitting streak. Phillips standing on deck. He's got an 11-game hitting streak. So
it almost seems as though Votto is starting out better here in 2016 in the second half than he did last year, and last year was epic.
Oh-2 pitch. Duvall hit it where they're not, and he did just that. 2 RBI single, Adam Duvall. How about that for turning the wick back up? And once again, 3rd straight game, the Reds come back in the bottom of the 1st to take the lead.
Breaking ball off the plate away. You could see Castillo turn his glove down. I mean, way down. And look how far Duvall goes down to get this ball, hits it on the nose, and just pulls it right through the left side. If you have a normal shortstop there, you've got to play. But they had moved Segura well over into the hole, closer to 3rd base. And another issue that Hamilton creates with his speed, allowing Bruce to take 2nd base with no throw. I mean, normally, if you have a regular runner at 3rd base, Bruce is not able to steal 2nd base and not get a throw.
Right.
But with Hamilton there, it allows him to take 2nd base with 2 outs. You get a single, you score 2 instead of 1.
A game changer. This is what the Reds had in mind all along with Billy Hamilton. We have seen flashes of what not only the present but what the future holds. With him in the leadoff spot, he gets on base, as you just described. He changes the complexion of an inning instantly.
It not only changes it to put adversity on the defense, he changes it for his own teammates. You get Bruce a stolen base, you get Duvall 2 RBIs rather than 1.
Phillips into right field. That will drop. 12-game hitting streak. Brandon Phillips.
Cutter off the plate away. We saw Phillips do this yesterday. The pitch stays just about an inch or 2 off the outside corner, but Brandon is so accustomed to getting that bat through the zone and staying behind the ball to hit it the other way. He catches it off the end, and with a slow right fielder in Tomas, that's a knock all day.
I'll bring up Ivan De Jesus Jr. In July, 500 hitter, 7 for 14, limited action. And he's your ultimate utility guy. He's made 21 starts, his 22nd today. Started 12 games at shortstop, 4 games at 2nd base, 3 games at 3rd base coming in, and 2 games at 1st base. Brian Price has even mentioned his name. If you need an emergency catcher, he would be one of the candidates, along with Tyler Holt. A lot of pitches in inning number 1 in this series.
A lot of scoring.
Yep.
That makes it awfully difficult on a starting pitcher, especially when it's hot and humid, to go deeper into the ball game when you throw 20+ pitches in the 1st inning.
The 2 teams scored 5 runs in the 1st inning Friday night, 4 runs yesterday. Reds, as we said, erased a 2-0 deficit Friday night, erased a 1-0 deficit last night, and today done it again. 2 runs in and perhaps counting.
Yeah, when you have runners on base, the pitches not only are escalating as far as the pitch count, but they're tougher pitches. You're putting a lot more stress on your body to make a good pitch.
Left center field. Hit well, but not well enough. Owings goes over to get it. Reds strand 2, but they score 2 and lead after 1. Today on our Elk and Elk storylines. Last 3-game sweep of the Diamondbacks for the Reds, August of 2012. Here at Great American Ballpark, you've got to go way back to 1999, the last home 3-game sweep of Arizona. And it would be just the second sweep of the season for the Reds. And you got to go back to the opening series of the season when they swept the Philadelphia Phillies and lead this one 2-1 as we head to the second inning on a hot, steamy afternoon at Great American Ballpark. Glad you joined us on this Sunday afternoon. Hope you got the AC cranked up and a cold beverage by your side. Cowboy has a cold beverage by his side, but yours was not the type I was talking about.
I like my Coke now. Today may be a day for ice cream. UDF may have to restock after this day.
Yeah, you better eat that ice cream quickly. Eat it in the air conditioning because that bad boy will melt right away. Pop up off the bat of Brandon Drury. Phillips goes way out to get it. Route number 1. And now Yasmani Tomas moving down to the 8th slot today. He's another guy who's done well against left-handed pitching. Steps in with a .301 average this season versus lefties. 6 doubles, 6 home runs, 12 runs driven in off the southpaws. First pitch ripped to left field, and that one reaches the seats. That was a missile home run. 14th of the season for Yasmani Tomas, and just like that, this game is tied.
When you have a guy at the plate that is going to swing no matter what, why do you throw it over the plate when you don't have to? There are some guys that you have to get the ball in the zone, like Goldschmidt. You got to make a good pitch. A guy like Yasmani Tomas, the reason he's hitting 8 is because he swings at everything.
If you were to talk about this Reds pitching staff, and they've seemingly turned the corner, particularly in the bullpen, but overall this season, when you're looking at walks, you look at home runs, obviously those numbers are off the charts, but pitch selection, in your mind, would that also be an area that this club overall needs to work on?
Yeah, but I think that's an indication of how young this staff is. I think that's the big key. And you can preach it all you want. You can talk about it in the meetings. You can talk about it in the dugout. But when the guy takes the mound, his adrenaline takes over. And sometimes you get caught up in the ball game. You get caught up in throwing strikes and challenging hitters. And that's when you need your catcher to kind of back you out a little bit. But the Reds have a young catcher catching today. It's not Tucker Barnhart behind the plate today.
Well, you saw a shot of now pitching coach Mac Jenkins, and it looked like he was making a gesture like dial it back, settle down a little bit. Brandon Finnegan is certainly a max effort pitcher. He gets his counterpart to go down swinging for out number 2 here in the second. First strikeout of the day for Finnegan.
I think the key for Brandon Finnegan as the season moves along and as he moves along in his career, he's got to figure out what it's going to take for him to control the bottom of the strike zone. Because that pitch there that we just saw, that's the pitch you're going to see 80% of the time from Brandon Finnegan. That's a belt high fastball, upper thigh fastball on the outside corner. And when you miss up, away, arm side every time, you're not driving the ball to the plate and you're not getting the ball down. It affects not only your fastball, but it affects the deception of your slider and your changeup.
Gene Segura, mile high in the air. Phillips under it. Yasmani Tomas ties this game at 2. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @Back Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Bottom of the second. Ramon Cabrera will take his first cuts of the afternoon against righty Zach Godley. Godley, 26, attended Spartanburg Methodist College before he attended the University of Tennessee. Ground ball. Goldschmidt's got it. Take it himself for out number 1. Now the pitcher Brandon Finnegan. Godley making his first career start against the Reds today in his second appearance. Godley faced the Reds on August 22nd of last season here at Great American Ballpark and got the win out of the bullpen. He went 3 2/3 innings that day in relief. Gave up only 1 hit, 1 run over those 3 2/3. Finnegan 5 hits and 35 plate appearances.
This is one of those ball games in the back of your mind if you're Brian Price. You really don't want your pitcher to have to run the bases. It's hot, it's humid.
He'll at least run 90 feet, or in this case jog 90 feet on the 6-3 put out. 2 outs in the inning. Just a reminder, as you enjoy that cold one at home, later in the game it'll be our Miller Time moment, brought to you by Miller Lite. Two outs and Billy Hamilton. In the first, extended his hitting streak to 7 games. Singled and scored on Adam Duvall's 2 RBI single. Squares around. Billy behind 0-2. Pitch. Got him. 1-2-3 inning. For Zach Godley, we're off to the third in a tie game.
It's greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. New York Yankees close to making a deal to trade Aroldis Chapman. That was first reported by Fox Sports' Ken Rosenthal. Mark Trumbo hit his 30th home run last night, third season with 30 or more home runs. Career high 34 in 2013 with the Angels. If he stays healthy, he will blow by that. And Chris Sale, we talked about this yesterday and a little today, suspended 5 games for violating team rules, insubordination, and destroying team equipment. Guys, you knew there was going to be some retribution for cutting up the jerseys, but 5 games suspended. Wow.
I think it's deserved, just my opinion. First pitch swinging, ripped foul.
And I would not,
Phil Gosselin.
I would not think that is one that you could appeal successfully.
No, well, it's a team suspension. Got to make him pay for those uniforms that he cut up as well.
You could still appeal it through the Players Association, but I don't think you're going to come out on top.
Supposedly, not only cut up his own uniform, he cut up others. Phil Gosselin singled back in the first, and he scored. Ricky Weeks Jr.'s RBI single. 2-2 game here in the top of the third.
Close to trading Aroldis Chapman.
Well, if you believe the rumors you hear, teams in a hot pursuit. One would be the Washington Nationals. He would be reunited with Dusty Baker. Ball gets away from Cabrera, but he makes the out. The other team rumored is the Chicago Cubs, and if that happens, look out.
I would say that Chapman is heading to the Cubs. That would be my bet. They've got the ammunition in their system to pull that off.
Well, I know
more so than the Nationals.
Nationals, yeah, they might not have as much ammunition, but I know their GM Rizzo really likes.
And so does Dustin. So does Dustin.
How could you not want to roll as Chapman at the back end of your bullpen? See if the Reds can continue to keep Paul Goldschmidt intact. You know, he's one of those guys that had one of these special stories that came along in baseball. May 17, 2014. It was against the Dodgers, and Goldschmidt visited a family before the game whose 9-year-old son Grayson had recently underwent surgery to remove a brain tumor. As he looks at the 1-1 pitch, he asked Grayson, the youngster, and his brother to rub his batting practice bat for good luck. And as fate would have it, during the game, Goldschmidt broke his game bat. So they gave him, which he rarely does, by the way, breaking a bat in a game. So they gave him his batting practice bat for his final 2 at-bats. And as fate would have it, he hit 2 home runs with the batting practice bat after young Grayson rubbed it for good luck.
That had to make that youngster feel good.
One pitch. Walked him. That's just one of those stories that just comes out of nowhere in baseball. Seemingly a harmless little visit with a family before the game, trying to lift the spirits of a youngster who underwent surgery to remove a brain tumor. And that happens. Goldschmidt on first after the second walk of the game given up by Brandon Finnegan and now Ricky Weeks Jr. We'll see if he'll stay away from a first pitch fastball to Weeks. He does not, but
it's the outside corner.
Yep. Got what he wants. Here he comes with the 0-1. Weeks. Seeing eye single. Diamondbacks got something going here in the top of the 3rd. 2 on, 1 out.
Breaking ball this time, but almost the same spot that Ricky Weeks got his first hit. And if you're a veteran hitter, as Ricky Weeks is, you got a youngster on the mound. Think, all right, I got his fastball the first time up. He's got to throw me a breaking ball sometime here because he doesn't want me to sit on that fastball right through the left side of the infield. And yes, there are hitters that come to the plate and sit on one pitch the entire at bat.
And that's when that reading the body language of a hitter comes in that you've talked so much about. And I enjoy those conversations when you have them. It's something that I often look at now. And one of the examples that I loved is you bust a guy inside and he doesn't move back or be brushed back. That means he's looking for an inside pitch, correct?
Every hitter is different, but you can tell, as you mentioned earlier, you watch the body language of a hitter as he takes a pitch or even as he swings at a pitch. He'll tell you what he's looking for.
Right field hit well. Bruce going back, and that one is out of here. And that one hurts. A 3-run home run, Wellington Castillo. And the Diamondbacks have taken a 3-run lead. Sent a 1-1 pitch into the sun deck. Home run number 11 on the season for Castillo. The Diamondbacks retake the lead.
Up and out over the plate. That's that pitch that's about mid-thigh. It goes a long way. It runs right into the bat head.
Chris Owings, first pitch swinging. Hamilton calls off Bruce for the second out. It's a walk, single, home run. And a 3-run inning so far for the D-backs.
You'll hear hitters come back to the dugout. He's staying away. the fastball is up. If it's down, take it. It's usually a breaking ball or a changeup. Just look for the ball up and out over the plate. And now you start to see hitters coming to the plate doing exactly that.
Brandon Drury popped out his first time up. In the series now, 1 for 8 is Brandon Drury, 23 years of age. Entered this season as the number 3 prospect by Baseball America in the D-back system. Center field. Hamilton barely has to move for the out. Damage done. Wellington Castillo, 3-run job. Riverboat deck at Great American Ballpark. It's located above the center field wall. We'll take in panoramic views of the Ohio River and the entire ballpark. To book your party or group outing, call the Reds Group Sales Department at 513-765-7600, or you can visit reds.com/groups. Jose Peraza hit by the first pitch.
Fastball up and in.
And I would imagine that's not the retribution that Chip Hale talked about before yesterday's game. If you don't know the story, Gene Segura hit an opening home run to lead off the series Friday night. Second at bat, Dan Straley hitting with a pitch. Segura thought it was intentional, so did Chip Hale, and he came out publicly and said there will be retribution at some point. Whether that was it, I'm not sure Jose Peraza would be their choice, but nonetheless, it's a hit by pitch. Long look in and timeout called by Joey Votto.
I've seen Diamondback pitchers do that quite a bit here in this series with a runner at first base that you know has speed to steal. Peraza would qualify in that area. Done that with Billy Hamilton. You just sit there and hold the ball until somebody calls timeout.
That steal attempt, he was caught stealing. He was perfect 10 for 10 this season and perfect in his career until that point. Votto, seeing eye single. Peraza will stop at second base as Tomas, that ball got to him quickly, and Tomas was playing fairly shallow in right field. Cowboy, you talked about this earlier. Right after the All-Star break, on a tear back-to-back years.
It's just one of those spots that Votto finds himself in, awfully comfortable. I mean, last year in July he had 405, continued on to hit 314 in August. Maybe Joey just likes the warmer weather. He's hot just like the sun.
Oh, he's a Toronto guy. And he's used to cold weather and not so hot summers, or at least shorter summers up there in Toronto. Maybe there's something to it. Godley and Castillo want to talk it over. First and second, nobody out here. Bottom of the third. Godley threw 25 pitches in the first inning. Threw only 7 in inning number 2. Pitch to Bruce. Check swing. Field down to third. No, says Rob Drake. Sam Holbrook calling balls and strikes behind the plate today. Crew chief Jerry Davis at first. Carlos Torres at second. And the aforementioned Rob Drake down there at third. Bruce trying to extend his modest hitting streak to 6 games after a walk in the first. And a 1-0. Right through the box. Into center field, a base hit. Here comes Peraza to the plate. And the Reds cut into that 5-2 lead. So indeed, a 6-game hitting streak, Jay Bruce.
Right back up the middle. A fastball that starts on the plate and stays on the plate. Started inside, ran outside. And Bruce stays right on top of it to hit it right back up the middle. Now, you and I were talking about this yesterday, just the perseverance that this club has shown here after the All-Star break. Even when you get down, the Reds seemingly have the wherewithal, or finding the wherewithal, I should say, to continue to fight to come back in the ball game.
First pitch to Adam Duvall, ripped but right at the shortstop, and that is a tough luck double play. Gene Segura went up and got it, and Votto doubled up at second.
I think Votto thought that ball was going over the head of Segura, but you still have to freeze on a line drive. That ball is right in front of Votto. And instead of putting his head on a swivel, he moved his feet.
Yep.
Just that false step of moving your feet instead of your head cost you.
And indeed, like you said, that ball was right in front of him. Now 2 outs for Phillips. Extended his hitting streak to 12 games back in the first. Average sitting at 262 for Brandon. See if that double play comes back to haunt the Reds, because it had the makings of a big inning. You've heard it, game of inches. Ball gets over Segura's head. Most likely it's an RBI single.
That's the beauty and the difficulty of base running. You want to get a secondary lead, an aggressive lead, but if you take one false step that just puts you in no man's land, as Votto was there, it's over. Whether you're trying to steal a base or whether you're trying to just advance to the next base on a base hit.
1-1 pitch to Phillips. Right side, and the base hit into right field. Phillips 2 for 2.
Brandon's got that swing down right now.
He does. We've seen him punch that ball into right field more than one occasion in this series.
The thing that amazes me is teams continue to pitch him out there.
Yep. First and second again for Ivan DeJesus Jr. Flight out to end the first. First pitch to Ivan. In there for a strike. Way inside.
Looked like a changeup there from Godley, just came out of the hand a bit early.
One ball, one strike.
Same pitch.
Zach Godley, born in Hamburg, South Carolina. Could be Bamberg, I'm not sure. B-A-M-B-E-R-G. Ivan DeJesus Jr. Base hit center field. They're waving around Bruce, and the Reds score again. One-run game. Nice piece of hitting. DeJesus Jr.
Two-out RBIs, awfully difficult. And DeJesus Jr. catches this one, a fastball away, hits it right off the end of the bat, but he puts it right back up the box. Brandon Phillips with a nice piece of hitting, followed by DeJesus getting his first start today in some time.
Comes Chip Hale to the mound.
And normally we see Mike Butcher, the Diamondbacks pitching coach, in this situation, but today maybe the manager wants to have a little face-to-face conversation here.
Well, Silvino Bracho is all of a sudden up in the pen. And this could be twofold. Check up from the neck up and give Bracho a little extra time. Get it cranked up. Chip Hale on the hot seat as the Diamondback skipper. Many rumors out there that he could be relieved of his duties sooner than later. We'll see what Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa, who is in Cooperstown. Ken Griffey Jr. going in, as well as Mike Piazza. Once he gets back from that trip, all bets are off, along with General Manager Dave Stewart. It's been a disappointing season for the Diamondbacks. And I know what you're saying. Hey, it's been a disappointing season for Cincinnati, but we knew it was going to be a disappointing season coming in. The Diamondbacks had high aspirations. Ramon Cabrera, left center field. This will tie up the game. Phillips scores, and a brand new ball game. Another two-out RBI, a little two-out bingo for the Reds.
Three consecutive hits after the line drive double play. That's a pretty good piece of hitting there by Ramon Cabrera. If you try to pull that ball, you got a weak ground ball to second base, and he goes right with it and hits it right over the shortstop's head.
Five hits in the inning. Three consecutive back-to-back two-out RBIs. DeJesus Jr. and Ramon Cabrera. So that is team ball right there. Picking up after that double play, which had the makings of really busting up what could be a big inning, and the Reds have rallied to put 3 on the board. Jesus Jr. got to third base on that base hit, so first and third, 2 outs. Brandon Finnegan, 0-1 count. Back to the pitcher. Damage done. 3 spot. We are tied at 5.
League Baseball, we salute all of Cooperstown, New York on its Hall of Fame weekend and offer congratulations to this year's award winners and to the 2016 National Baseball Hall of Fame inductees and their families. We are tied at 5 here at Great American Ballpark. It is sweltering hot down here on the field. 106 is the heat index. Now we've got a treat for you. When Ken Griffey Jr. was coming out of high school, this is the Seattle Mariners' actual report on him. A 17-year-old youngster, and it was between his junior and senior years that he really started to blossom as a ball player. And as you see here, some of the words that we have taken out of this. 17-year-old in a man's body, and everything comes so easy for him, has all the tools to be a superstar. Well, I guess they were right, because obviously, look what happened. He becomes the first #1 overall pick in the history of baseball to make it to Cooperstown, New York.
They could have shortened that report to just 2 words: can't miss. But was that Jeff McCorrell down there, or Chichi Rodriguez? Nice lid. See the lid on my boy down there?
Whatever it takes to keep that sun off your head.
Yes, sir. It is sweltering down there, like he said. I mean, smoking. In fact, there have been heat index warnings across the tri-state the last 2 or 3 days. And the Reds are in for a big change. There he is. Check him out.
Got a little feather working there.
It's a hat kind of day.
Digging it. Now that would not qualify as a cowboy hat.
It would not?
That would qualify as a styling hat.
Well, you could be styling in that cowboy hat. You need to bring that back on road trips, by the way.
Not happening.
Harris called you out. Tomas, line drive center field. Hamilton there, 1 out. Ken Griffey Jr., man, what a player. And rolled that soundbite yesterday of Homer Bailey. And this was any youngster that was growing up in that era. And Homer said There's not a youngster that followed baseball that didn't emulate his swing, that didn't turn their hat around backwards, that didn't try to play with the flair in the field that he had.
Heck, it wasn't just youngsters. It was guys in the big leagues after he got up here.
His number 24, once he put that one on with the Seattle Mariners, that was the most requested uniform number in Little League baseball for many, many years.
Griffey made turning the hat backwards cool. Yeah.
Known as the Kid. He's taking his rightful place today. I always wonder what if he would have been healthy long term here in Cincinnati. Body just failed him all those years in the Kingdom on that hard turf. I think did him in. That Kingdom turf is amongst the hardest in baseball. First overall pick by Seattle, and as Pick said, it's amazing that it's the first overall pick.
Especially with so much made about the draft and what's going on today about trying to get that #1 pick.
Right.
And he's the first one that's never made it to the Hall of Fame.
Down swinging goes Zach Godley, second out here in the 4th. Now, granted, the draft has not been around forever.
No.
But still amazing that all these years he's the first one to make the Hall. Jeff Piquero, you got more?
You know, the amazing thing, too, is the fact that he's going in with Mike Piazza, who was basically a courtesy pick in the 62nd round. 1,389 players were picked before him. He is far and away the lowest ranked or drafted player ever to go in the Hall of Fame. So you've got the first #1 and the lowest of all time because there's only 40 rounds to the draft now.
One of those, you always look at the draft and you say, all right, well, who was picked before him? Who was picked after him? But Piazza, you got to go through over 1,300 guys to figure it out. Amazing story. And they call him the greatest offensive catcher of all time. In fact, Pete Rose calls him the greatest offensive catcher of all time. He calls Pudge Rodriguez the greatest defensive catcher of all time. But you put them both together, Pete Rose says Johnny Bench is the best catcher of all time overall. And number 5 hanging up for eternity. Jean Segura, good season going for him. 1-2 pitch to him, fouls it off. He has hit over 320 in all but 1 month this season. He hit 278 in May.
Well, the Shelby Miller trade may not have worked out as the Diamondbacks thought. The Jean Segura trade, I would say that has worked out awfully well.
So far so good on that front. Segura came into the game 357 average in the second half and a 571 slugging percentage. 2-2 pitch to him outside 3-2. Center field and a base hit for Segura. A 2-out base runner for the Diamondbacks, and Phil Gosselin strolled to the plate. I mentioned that trade. He was traded by the Brewers with Tyler Wagner to the D-backs. From minor leaguer Chase Anderson, Aaron Hill, and some cash. playing his most comfortable position today at shortstop after playing second base first 2 games of this series. Pay close attention to Segura, 17 for 22 in the stolen base department. A stolen base here last night. Roll over again. Pitch count at 70. 2 outs into the 4th for Finnegan. 22 pitches in the first, 13 in the second, 18 in the third. Do it again.
I'm thinking along the same lines as Finnegan with 2 outs. Got to believe Segura's going at some point here. But if you're Brandon Finnegan, you don't want the runner at first base to take away your concentration of Phil Gosselin at the plate, because Goldschmidt is waiting on deck. Granted, he has not gotten a hit in this series, but he presents a major obstacle.
1-1 in the count. Able to keep Goldschmidt in check, like you said, but he does have 2, 3, 4 walks now in the series. And of those 4 walks, has scored only 1 time, and that was today, back in the 3rd. Wellington Castilla sent one out of here. One-two pitch. Hopped it up. Foul ground. Votto over to get it for out number 3. Off to the bottom of the 4th. Brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. The 1869 Red Stockings. No, these are not those guys. Look out. But before the game, a little exhibition. old school style, where they were playing without gloves out there on the field. They do it every year here. I always love to see those old uniforms. Replicas of the 1869 Red Stockings, the first professional team in the history of baseball.
I like watching him catch those line drives in the outfield barehanded. That's gotta hurt. I don't care how tough your hands are.
0-2 pitch to Billy Hamilton. Hamilton goes down swinging. Second straight time Billy has struck out in this game.
Same pitch, got him on the changeup.
2 strikeouts for Zack Godley, and they're both against Hamilton. If a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during today's game, Ron Enderly from Cincinnati will win the beautiful Tundra on display. Register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. 1 out, Jose Peraza, first pitch swinging. Last time up, Peraza was hit by a pitch and scored. Jay Bruce's RBI single. Peraza getting the start today at shortstop for Zach Kozar. This is 19th start today for Jose Peraza. 6 games in left, 5 games at second, 4 games in center, and just his 3rd start at shortstop today. And 1 game as a designated hitter.
Now, who would have thought when the Reds acquired Peraza that he would have more starts in the outfield than he would in the infield?
He had never played outfield in his professional career until this season. I got to tell you, I put him out there. There were a few gaps in center field. I remember a ball he should have caught in center, but out in left, for a guy that never done it, certainly didn't look totally out of place.
Center field can be tough when the ball is hit directly at you, and that was the play that he had the difficulty with.
That was in Cleveland.
But he can do that.
It's the bat on the ball, and this time his first hit of the game.
Inside out swing. Cutter trying to bring it back to the inside corner, and Peraza stays right on it. You can see that elbow come in, bat head to the baseball. The top elbow, he drives it right down towards the belt, gets right through it.
And now Votto 1 for 2 so far today. Now hit safely, throw down to first. Has now hit safely in all 9 games since the All-Star break. Coming in .538 average since the break. And his 1.58 OPS during that span. On base percentage plus slugging, best in baseball. Pitch inside 2-0.
We used to use the term hitterish.
Hitterish
when we sit in the dugout watching guys that were hot. Right now Votto is looking very hitterish.
Well, a hitterish count at 2-0. See what Godley delivers. Ground ball. Easy play for Goldschmidt. Does get Peraza in scoring position.
Fooled him with the changeup. After a couple of pitches inside, Votto sitting on a fastball, and he gets the pitch that starts middle in and then just slowly drifts away. The ball wasn't quite there by the time Votto made his pass.
Two outs now for Jay Bruce. Was reached base both times today. Walked in the first and scored. RBI single in the third and scored. Hitting streak now at 6 games. His last time up extended his team lead in RBIs to 70.
Well, this time the Diamondbacks have Gene Segura playing almost in the identical spot that Bruce had the base hit, back up the middle just to the shortstop side of second.
The 1-0. Rip look foul. Coming in, Jay Bruce on pace for 37 doubles, 10 triples, 33 home runs, and 115 RBIs. One. Ground ball. Going to his right is Segura. The third out. 5-5 game.
Point and trying to drive the ball down in the strike zone, and with Brandon Finnegan, a lot of the energy is expelled early in his mechanics. It seems like as he comes to the mound, a lot of energy is expanded back here with the arm swing. You see the leg come up and the arm swing. Watch him as he goes to the plate. He has that lean back towards second base, but the big arm swing causes him a little bit of deceleration as he gets to the top of his mechanics. You'd like to have it the other way. Slowly out of the glove and then accelerate as you come to the plate. And that's just something for a young pitcher that you have to learn. Sometimes you learn it in the minor leagues. For Brandon Finnegan, he'll have to learn it at the big league level.
Well, that seems like a major change to make. How tough of a change is it?
It's really not. It's
not?
It's up in your head because you're having the same arm swing, but you're expending your energy out towards the plate to extension rather than right when the ball comes out of your glove. And a lot of guys that rip the ball out of their glove, they leave the ball high. It's just the nature of the game, and you try to teach them.
Goldschmidt, first hit of the series, and it's a home run.
You try to teach guys that the only way that you can get the ball down is to accelerate once you get your hand at the top of the baseball.
Well, you can only keep a good man down for so long, and Paul Goldschmidt, home run number 17, and the Diamondbacks have retaken the lead in a back-and-forth game.
I mean, this is another ball game for Brandon Finnegan where he's given up home runs in multiples. And this is his 20th start today, and he's now given up 22 home runs. There's a reason that you walk batters consistently, and there's a reason that you give up home runs consistently, and it's because you're not down in the strike zone.
.65. The Reds are going to have to come back again. Last night was the Reds' 23rd come from behind victory. And they had only 21 of those in all of 2015.
And you see Finnegan immediately after the home run, both of those pitches down around the kneecap. So it's not that he can't do it. It's that he's not doing it consistently. That has to be your thought process as soon as you come out of the bullpen and throw pitch number 1.
As we talked about earlier, his last 2 starts were victories, but only 5 innings each. Now there's action in the Reds pen. Righty Ross Ohlendorf up. Nobody out here in the top of the 5th, and already a run in.
A lot of that aggressive arm swing as the ball comes out of your glove, it takes away a little bit of your feel when you get to the top of your release point. You almost feel like the ball is already coming out of your hand before you start going to the plate.
Weeks Jr. thought he had a walk. Sam Holbrook had other plans.
That's where Finnegan normally pitches, at the top of the strike zone, and that's a very dangerous spot.
Three-two pitch. Right field. Bruce has it easily for the first out here in the 5th. Wellington Castillo, 1 for 2, reached on an error. The big blow in this game, a 3-run home run last time up. Finnegan has given up 3 home runs now in this game. Yasmani Tomas got him in the 2nd. Castillo in the 3rd. Goldschmidt here to lead off the 5th. Go back and get that rosin bag again. Temperatures in the mid-90s, heat index well over 100. We're in late July in the Queen City, and another deep one to left. Going back is Duvall. He's got it though on the track. For out number 2.
Remember Hal McRae, when he was our hitting coach here in Cincinnati, he used to make the comment, the hitters will tell you whether your pitches are good or not, or whether you're deceiving them or not, because they'll either be out in front or they'll be behind. They'll either foul it over the first base dugout or they'll dribble one down the third baseline. If everything is hit on the nose, even fly balls, you know you're not fooling anybody.
Well, line drive there, but right at Bruce. So after giving up a home run to Goldschmidt, Diamondbacks have retaken the lead. Country Club up in Columbus. It's the U.S. Senior Open starting August 8th. For more information and to purchase tickets, go to 2016USSeniorOpen.com. Hitters game today, 11 runs on the board.
Well, the Reds in this series against the Diamondbacks have seemingly answered every time the Diamondbacks have gotten on the board, and they'll have to do it again today for the third time.
It's Adam Duvall to lead off this half inning for Cincinnati. Check swing, appeal down to first. No, says Jerry Diggs. So they've given Zack Godley another lead. See what he can do with it. Now ball to third. Over to first. Drury to Goldschmidt. One out. Not that wins and losses are the greatest measure of a pitcher, but Zack Godley is looking to become the first player in franchise history for the Diamondbacks to win 7 or more games in his first 10 career starts. No one has done it. Wade Miley, 6 wins in his first 10 career starts. Chase Anderson, 6 as well back in 2014. Now with another lead, trying to make Diamondbacks history. Brandon Phillips 2 for 2 today. Easy ground ball. Easy 2 outs here in the 5th. Godley. Zack Godley sprints onto the field and he sprints off. Check out our Fox vision here. Let's put the clock on him. All right, I'm done. I'm done with my business. Let's go on and take it to the house here in 8.2 seconds.
Well, he beat the third baseman to the dugout.
First pitch ball to Ivan DeJesus Jr. Last time up, RBI single. Some of the great pitchers, though, they sprint on, but after a good inning, they walk it off. I want everyone to take a look at him. I forget which great pitcher talked about that.
Well, the guy that used to surprise me, and he was not a pitcher, he was a batter. But when I played with Willie McGee out in San Francisco, if he struck out, he would sprint back to the dugout. And I asked him one day, why do you run back to the dugout when you struck out? He goes, because I'm embarrassed. I was like, oh man.
Ground ball to short. 1, 2, 3 inning, and there goes Godley. Sprint to the dugout. Business done. day is done, so the Reds will turn to their bullpen, and they're the subject of our IGS Bringing the Energy. Last 13 games, which spans 45 innings of work, a 1.60 ERA. Opponents hitting just 152 off of them. 2 home runs allowed, 44 strikeouts, and 19 walks. Those numbers have not always been that favorable this season, but seemingly have turned the corner. And now the first appearance in this series for righty Ross Ohlendorf.
Big over-the-top fastball. Has rather the old-fashioned windup. And the big breaking curveball.
So close the book on Brandon Finnegan. It's the 3rd straight start in which he only goes 5. 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, gave up 3 home runs. Way out in front is Brandon Drury. Start the so-called second half, that 1.52 reliever ERA is second best in the National League during that span. In contrast, the Diamondbacks have struggled out of the bullpen. They have a 5.13 ERA coming out of the break, 3rd worst in the league. Those Washington Nationals continue to get it done all around. Starting pitching and relief pitching. They have a 0.61 ERA since the break. Bullpen, Washington Nationals.
Well, I can't believe that the Nationals bullpen has decreased their ERA as much as the Reds bullpen has.
Yeah.
In this short of a period of time.
Well,
I don't think anybody's bullpen has, for that matter.
Nationals have been strong all season long. Can you imagine adding Aroldis Chapman to that bullpen? Yikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Up the middle, base hit.
I think the big key there, with whether it be the Cubs or the Nationals, in adding a closer of Chapman's stature. You got a veteran closer in Papelbon. That's all he's ever done. He's got just about every accolade that there is to be out there. Is Papelbon going to be willing to pitch in the 8th inning and do it willingly and effectively? That's the whole key for Washington in that situation. And I think the same can be true for the Cubs. Hector Rondon has been the closer for this club. He's thrown the ball pretty well. You know, some folks say that just by adding a player doesn't always make you better. Sometimes it makes you worse, because you upset the apple cart and you disrupt the chemistry of a bullpen or of a batting order or of a clubhouse.
Yep.
And sometimes just the quality of the player doesn't always work.
Manny Tomas punches it through the right side. And the first 2 batters have reached here in the 6th. I'll bring up the pitcher, Zach Godley, who will most certainly be trying to bunt those runners over. Squares around. Votto charging from first. It's a fair ball. Cabrera could have had a play at third base, although DeJesus Would have been close getting back to third base, but if he would have looked over there, I think he could have gone there and got the runner.
Yeah, I think immediately Cabrera looked down to DeJesus to see if he had the play. And I don't think he had a play at third. And not that he didn't have a play because of the runner. He didn't have a play because DeJesus was charging. He could not have gotten back to the bag in time.
Godley does his job, and now with 1 out and 2 runners in scoring position, it's Jean Segura.
You can see Segura still shaking his head. He swung at a changeup about chest high.
Average up to 315 now for Segura. After a single back in the 4th, that average leads this Diamondbacks club. Back.
That's where you have to pitch Segura. You've got to get the ball tight on his hands in order to get the breaking ball away. Because Segura will chase the breaking ball into the dirt. He'll chase the ball off the outside corner. As long as the breaking ball starts in the hit zone, he will swing. But then it's up to your catcher Cabrera to make sure he keeps it in front with this runner at third base.
Diamondbacks trying to escape town, avoiding a 3-game sweep. They'll head to Milwaukee for 4 next, and then we'll round out a 3-city road trip against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. Well, battery mates will talk it over.
Well, this is going to be a sweet homestand for the Reds, regardless of the outcome of today. Winning 3 consecutive series, but oh, how nice it is if you can head to San Francisco with a sweep under your belt. And the Reds still have that opportunity here in a 1-run game.
Blocked by Cabrera. Keeps it at a 1-run game. Reds playing in on the infield. Trying to cut down the runner at the plate if they can. Comes the 2-2. Cabrera can't catch it, and that is a big run. Had him struck out.
Started it in the strike zone. Breaking ball breaking down and away, and Cabrera just can't catch the baseball.
Wow. And now the battery mates once again talking it over. And that one just hurts. Ohlendorf does his job. That can't swing and a miss.
That can't happen in the big leagues. That ball did not bounce. It had good break. And that's a pitch that a big league catcher has got to catch in that situation.
So instead of 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs, it is now 1st and 3rd, 1 out, and an add-on run in. There goes the runner from 1st. Throw down to 2nd. Segura. Long look. Safe. Second base umpire Carlos Torres took a 2nd look.
Did they call that a wild pitch or a pass ball? I don't agree with a wild pitch. I can tell you that. That ball didn't hit the dirt, and it hit off the glove of Cabrera.
I agree with you. Reds are going to take a look at this one. Again, we saw Carlos Torres, the second base umpire, who sprinted around and took a long look, and that hand did come off, but did Phillips get his glove on him with Segura's hand off the base?
Well, where Carlos Torres was positioned and because of where the hand came off the bag, it was behind on the left field side of the bag, and Carlos Torres is really at an angle where he could not see that at that point in time. The only question is, did they see it in New York?
We'll see. And this is one of those situations with replay this year. We've seen a lot of these where a runner is off the bag for just an instant, and it's caught on replay because obviously you can freeze frame it. But I'm not sure that this is the spirit of the replay rule when they had replay in mind. It's come into play, and it's come into play a lot. But again, in the spirit of the game, I'm not sure they had this in mind.
No, I don't think that they did. But now that you're able to see it, you see how many times, because we didn't know this years ago. We didn't know that runners slid and their feet popped up and didn't stay in contact with the bag. We didn't realize that runners slid past the bag, and he's out.
Rob Coughlin getting it done again in the Reds dugout. The Reds clubhouse. Brian Price likes it. Take another look.
But you got to credit Brandon Phillips here, not only staying with the tag, but staying right on the fingers. And you could see the fingers of Jean Segura just ever so slightly slide off the bag, and Phillips kept the tag on him the entire slide.
Tell you what, Brandon's one of the best in the game at doing that as well. Not every fielder continues that tag throughout, and we've seen Phillips do it time and time again. Could prevent a big inning. Phil Gosselin at the plate. Runner at third base, 2 outs. Three balls, 1 strike. Right field, base hit. That'll split Bruce and Hamilton. It goes to the wall, and it's an RBI double for Phil Gosselin. And Arizona playing add-on. They lead this one 8-5.
Gosselin, a pretty good swing there on a fastball on the outside corner, but elevated a bit. Stays right on it.
Last time up, Paul Goldschmidt, home run number 17, his first hit of the series. Popped him up. Votto on the edge of the grass, gloves it. 2 come playward in the inning, and Arizona leads by 3. at the ballpark Friday the 19th. The Reds and the Dodgers. You can see it for only $12. Plus, don't miss a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Tri-Health. 513-381-REDS for tickets or visit Reds.com. Best fireworks in the league, bar none. Reds have rallied from a 3-run deficit already in this game. They're going to have to do it again. Down 8-5. Bottom of the 6th, Ramon Cabrera will lead it off. In the top half of the inning, a wild pitch. It's called a wild pitch. Ross Ohlendorf struck out Gene Segura. And not only did Segura reach first base, but cost the Reds a run. You were surprised by the wild pitch call, and you just went to the official scores box and had a conversation. What'd you learn?
I was just asking, because I think that if you call for a curveball and it's 2 strikes, you're expecting the ball to start in the zone and be off the plate away. Now, if the ball bounces in the dirt, not a whole lot you can do about it, but that ball was about 3 inches off the outside corner. That's a pitch that big league catchers make all day, every day.
Here's what we're talking about if you're just picking us up.
The way I look at it is if that ball starts on the middle of the plate and you get a hitter to swing at it and it doesn't hit the dirt, you got to catch it. Was it close to the ground? Sure it was.
But this is the big league.
But as a catcher, you should be shifting your weight and get your mitt in a proper position to catch. You're not supposed to reach as he did there. That's not how you're taught.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Cabrera. Castillo hangs the signs, and here comes Godley.
So Kyle Waldrop has moved out into the on-deck circle.
Lefty. This is the first time Godley has made it through the 5th inning since taking over as a starter for Zach Greinke. 2-2. Cabrera laid off a close one. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Had a 6-inning start in his first start back in June, I believe.
June 11th.
But went directly to the bullpen after that, and like you said, he's only made the couple of starts here lately.
Walks Ramon Cabrera.
Well, the Reds have plenty of time to catch up in this one.
Only the 2nd walk given up by Godley today. And indeed, here's Kyle Waldrop. Getting some more time with the big club.
Well, this is how the Diamondbacks scored their 2 runs. In the top of the inning, they got the bottom part of their order on base. You get the guys at the top of your order swinging the bat.
Up there swinging it left-handed, and on this day, wearing the former number of Ken Griffey Jr. Jr. also wore number 3 here with the Reds. Switched from 30, which his dad wore as well. And wore number 3 in the late stages of his Reds career in honor of his 3 kids.
It's got to be pretty cool to wear your dad's number.
Oh, when he said he put it on, it almost his eyes welled up a little bit. Even though when he came over in the trade, he did ask Tony Perez, can I wear your number 24, which is the number that he made famous. Both made famous.
Willie Mays number.
And Tony, it was tough for Tony too to say no, let me tell you, because basically Ken Griffey Jr. grew up in the Reds clubhouse around Tony Perez, but he's like, you know what, my number's hanging up there, let's just keep it hanging up there. Jr. said, fine, no problem, just wear Dad's number. 1-2 pitch to Waldrop. Down swinging goes Kyle. Third strikeout of the game for Godley.
Hard breaking ball inside. Waldrop likes that ball close to him. Tries to get started a little too soon and swings over the top of it.
Brings up Billy Hamilton. Singled and scored in the first, but has since struck out in back-to-back at-bats. First pitch strike. Roller coaster ride as far as pitch counts go to that 25 pitch first inning, delivering pitch number 83 of the game, and it's outside for a ball. Diamondbacks wearing your favorite unis in the league, Cowboy.
The wet cement.
They're actually different than what you saw on Friday night. In fact, they don't wear the same uniform on consecutive days very often. It took them into June this year to wear the same uniforms back-to-back days. They've got all kinds of varieties of this, what you call wet cement gray. Different trim around these, and these are certainly easier to read than what we saw on Friday night and yesterday, for that matter. Friday nights were just brutal as far as seeing the number. As Billy chops one over Goldschmidt into right field for a base hit. Cabrera doesn't run well, but he does make it to third.
Hits this one right into the ground, and because of the fact that Hamilton was concentrating on getting on top of the ball, he pounds it right in front of home plate. Takes a nice big hop over the head of Paul Goldschmidt.
Zach Curtis, the lefty, is up and throwing in the Diamondbacks pen, and to give him a little more time, pitching coach Mike Butcher out to talk to Godley. In fact, it's double-barreled action now.
We saw Curtis in game one come in to face Votto and Bruce. He walked them both. He was nowhere near the strike zone. The only lefty in there in the Diamondbacks bullpen.
Yep. Got the righty Peraza up now. Back-to-back lefties in Votto and Bruce. Looks like Enrique Burgos also up in the pen.
Well, this was where you can really make a run at a starter. He's working on fumes. A very hot day. Got an advantage here with a chance to put some runs on the board.
Peraza 1 for 2 today. Singled his last time up. Also hit by a pitch. And has scored a run. The 0-1 pitch to Peraza. Godley ahead, no balls, 2 strikes. Another long look in. Right side. Goldschmidt. He catch that ball? He did. Big league play, Paul Goldschmidt.
That was a very last-minute look at the wall and extend your glove.
What a play.
Just throw your glove out there and the ball lands in it.
Two-time Gold Glove winner, first base, Paul Goldschmidt. Big out. Here comes Chip Hale. And that is going to do it for Zack Godley on this day. And he will sprint off the field per usual. And here comes the lefty. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app and take Fox Sports Ohio and Reds baseball with you wherever you go. Zack Godley's done. Day is done after 5 2/3, and he gives the ball to Zach Curtis, the only lefty out of the pen for Chip Hale.
Well, instead of starting the inning with nobody on, Zach Curtis comes into the ball game with runners at first and third, 2 down, facing the same batters that he faced in game 1, and he walked both Votto and Bruce.
First pitch to Joey, outside, ball 1. Godley leaves with the lead. 10 hits given up, 5 runs they were earned. Both runners on are his responsibility. But he's hoping Zach Curtis could pick him up. One ball, 1 strike to Votto. Josh Smith, the righty, warming up in the pen for Cincinnati. One and two. Trailed by 3 after the Diamondbacks put 3 on the board in the 3rd. Came back with the 3 spot of their own in the bottom half of the inning. And they rally from 3 down again. Fake throw over, and I'm not sure Hamilton was even off the base. Ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. There goes Hamilton. Not even a throw. Not even a cover of second base. Stolen base number 32 for Billy. First of the day. So now 2 in scoring position for Joey. And a 2-2 count. Left side. Out of play.
Major momentum shift if you get a hit right here.
Comes the 2-2 again. Outside, and it's gone full. Got a base open. But you got a guy that can bomb one on deck, that being Jay Bruce. 3-2 pitch. Bases loaded.
Well, Godley has now faced 3 Reds in this series, and he has walked every one of them. As you and I were talking about in game 1, when your manager goes to a lefty and you've got a lefty on lefty matchup, he's not interested in you walking the batter. He's interested in you making the batter put the ball in play.
Those numbers are off the charts. Jay Bruce with bases loaded. Nowhere to put Bruce. Cabrera at third. Billy at second. Votto at first. Votto is the tying run. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
See, if you're Curtis and you get a swing like that, it should give you a little confidence. That was more of a defensive swing, even though it was a 1-0 fastball. That should tell you that the hitter is not picking up the baseball. The more balls you throw, the better chance Bruce has to see your mechanics and your pitches.
Swing and a miss. Zach Curtis a pitch away from getting out of this jam.
You got to believe he's coming with a slider right here.
Way outside.
Fastball.
You wonder, with the Reds hitting the road, is this the last game in a Reds uniform at Great American Ballpark for Jay Bruce? Two pitch. Got him upstairs. The Reds strand 3 and still trail by 3. Diamondbacks looking to escape Cincinnati without being swept. They lead by 3. So we move on to the 7th inning. Brian Price out to home plate umpire Sam Holbrook to make a double switch. Jose Peraza has left this game. And into the game is Eugenio Suarez at third base. Ivan De Jesus Jr. moves over to short. Suarez will bat 9th. Pitcher spot now in the 2-hole. And righty Josh Smith on for Cincinnati. He will tangle with Ricky Weeks Jr. to lead off the 7th. First pitch in there for a strike. What are your overall impressions of Josh Smith so far this season coming out of the bullpen?
I think he's been much better out of the bullpen. I know the numbers don't quite stack up to back that up. But one bad ball game as a long man out of the bullpen can really escalate your ERA. And there have been times where he's been awfully good out of the Reds bullpen.
He is one of those long men. He was the lone long man for a while. And then Kivas Sampson came back to the big club. So 2 guys considered long relief men, even though Sampson got a spot start here yesterday. But we've seen Josh Smith in innings 7 and 8 before. He's pitched in a number of roles. We saw him as a starting pitcher here last year.
Well, this is the one thing that Smith has not done, and that's pitched behind in the count. More times than not, it's pitched ahead and pitched to contact.
Again, worked his way back to the big club the hard way. He attended minor league spring training camp. He was not even in the big league camp. Didn't cry about it. Did his job. Worked his way back the hard way. In the air to right field. Easy play for Bruce. Goes down in the 7th.
You get people out consistently in the minor leagues, they'll find a spot for you. It's the same thing with hitting the baseball. If you can hit, you'll get a chance.
On May 22nd, Smith was promoted from Louisville. July 2nd at Washington. It'll be a day he'll never forget. He retired all 4 batters he faced and benefited from a 5-run 10th inning by the Reds offense and got his first big league victory on that day. Upstairs, look out. He walks Wellington Castillo. Nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say it. Catch Colin Cowherd and Jason for FS1's new daily sports talk show. Speak for yourself. It's weeknights at 6 Eastern on FS1. The 3rd walk of the game given up by Reds pitching. Now Chris Owings, 1 out, 1 aboard. Josh Smith also worked his way the hard way because he was a 21st round selection in 2010. Pride of Lipscomb University in Nashville. Pitch. 1-1.
Smith has had quite a few days off, and you can tell his arm is live. He's hitting 94, 95 with the fastball, but sometimes that's a detriment to a pitcher like Smith. He's best when his breaking ball is on and use the fastball late in the count.
Ball, 2 strikes to Chris Owings. Two and two.
Looks like Josh is getting underneath the baseball just a tad. Normally that slider has pretty good downward movement. Right now it's got a little bit of a loop in it. You can see his fastball really sailing to arm side, or he'll pull it off the plate away.
2-2 pitch. Center field. Hamilton to his left. 2 outs.
Made a pitch there.
Now third baseman Brandon Drury. For 3 today, the 23-year-old, 6'2", 210. Drury in his rookie season, 4th amongst rookies in average, coming in 264. 4th in doubles, extra base hits, total bases as well, all ranking 4th amongst rookies in that category.
Yeah, normally a third baseman, but with Jake Lamb hitting the ball the way that he is, Lamb has been playing third and Drury has been put into the outfield. Of course, with Lamb out of the lineup today, they moved Drury back into third base.
Yeah, he's made 25 starts in right field, 21 in left.
A.J. Pollock, such a valuable part of this Diamondbacks club. Hit at the top of the order. He was really the fire starter for their offense. Goes down in the 2nd to the last day of spring training.
Yep.
Watch the bat
swing.
Bat come around.
Oh, right in the separation there of the helmet. Had athletic trainer Steve Bauman out to take a look, and Cabrera still on one knee trying to get his wits about him.
That's how you have why you have that hard helmet.
We talked about that last night. One advantage that hockey goalie style helmet is on the backswing.
Yep. A lot of coverage all the way down. He needed every bit of it right there.
Now, if that had been Tucker Barnhart, who wears that old school mask, that bat is hitting right on that soft hat.
Well, Barnhart has the helmet backwards. He has the hard helmet,
I should say, backwards. Yeah.
but you don't always get coverage along the sides. The problem with the back coming around is, as a catcher, you're concentrating on catching the pitch. You're not expecting to get hit in the head with a sledgehammer.
Right.
You know, and not only is it loud and stunning, but it echoes in your ears. I mean, that was not just a tap. That was a major hit.
Yeah, Sam Holbrook knew it. He was trying to hold Cabrera up. He's going to stay in the game. And they went through all the motions as Barnhart was ready to come in if need be. Nowadays, it's much more than how many fingers am I holding up. There's a whole protocol they go through. Let's check it out, real speed. Ow. Wow. That puts it into perspective right there. 2-2 pitch. In the air. Left center field. Hamilton calls off Duvall. Josh Smith. A scoreless 7th. We'll hear from Ken Griffey Jr. in his Hall of Fame speech when we come back.
I got to put on the same uniform.
Baseball immortality reached today. Ken Griffey Jr., Cincinnati's own, with his plaque going into Cooperstown. Let's take a taste of his Hall of Fame induction speech.
I spent 8 years with the Reds. I got to put on the same uniform as my dad. Run around the same outfield. I got a front row seat to the greatest team ever assembled, the 1975 and 76 Reds. As a member of the Reds, I was often teased by my teammates saying that my dad played for the big red machine and you're the engineer to the little red caboose. I want to thank my family, my friends, the fans, the Reds, the White Sox, and the Mariners for making this kid's dream come true.
What a way to end it. Got a little choked up there. We knew he was going to be a little vulnerable today. And he put that hat on junior style, backwards.
I thought he handled it awfully well.
And you could see Senior there when he mentioned, I got to put
the dad's uniform.
My dad's the same uniform my dad wore and ran around the outfield, the same outfield. And got a front row view for what he called the greatest team ever assembled, the 75-76 Reds, and called him the leader of the Little Red Caboose.
Hey, he had a great example in that great Big Red Machine era, but probably the best example was his old man. I mean, Ken Sr., he played the game the way it was supposed to be played.
Bottom of the 7th now. Reds need some runs. It's Adam Duvall against righty Enrique Burgos. New pitcher for the D-backs. Duvall, shortstop, Segura. Long throw, and they just got him.
Great hustle by Duvall. He almost beat that out. That ball was hit on the line.
He's always busting it down the line.
Always playing the game hard, whether it's on the base paths, whether it's in the outfield. He got close.
Be interesting to hear Ken Griffey Sr.'s comments today. Will his proudest moment be being a part of a world championship team? Would it be those back-to-back homers that Junior and Senior hit in one game, which is incredible, by the way, which they did for the Mariners? I mean, you think about that.
Just to play in the same game. Much
not
less.
only play in the same games, but to go back-to-back home runs, father and son. Unbelievable. Or will it be today, watching his son going to the National Baseball Hall of Fame?
I think it's got to be today for Ken Sr.
And I didn't even mention career home run number 500 for Junior, which came in St. Louis on Father's Day. And the first one he went over to greet afterwards, Dad. What a Father's Day present that was. What a day in St. Louis. Let's take you back to it. And if there's any place to hit it on the road, St. Louis is one of the places you would choose. And look at Senior, look at it, finally. That was an awesome moment. And I mentioned St. Louis because they did him right on that day. It was a standing ovation, as if you would hear here in Cincinnati.
As if one of their guys had.
Yeah, it really was quite the moment. Credit to the Cardinals fans for knowing exactly what they watched, because that is basically your ticket to Cooperstown when you hit number 500. Two balls, two strikes to Brandon Phillips. 3-2.
Boy, that swing of Griffey's was sweet, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, sweet, fluid.
I used to love when he would just hammer the bat through the zone on a home run, and it was so quick. If you blinked, you missed it, and he would just stand there and watch it real quick. And in Cooperstown, it's always a who's who, and we saw during that speech a shot of Johnny Bench looking on. He was one of Junior's proteges growing up, and check this one out. Johnny Bench, Reds owner Bob Castellini, the commissioner of baseball Rob Manfred Jr., and Tony Perez. How about that picture? That's big league right there.
That is big league.
Junior often joked that the toughest games that the Big Red Machine had in 75-76 was the father-son game. Had a tough time winning that bad boy. They had some talent as far as the youngsters go.
Got that right.
1-1 count to Ivan DeJesus Jr. Delivered an RBI single back in the third. Junior used to wear me out. He would razz about anyone that walked in his path. But he would particularly just, wow.
He learned from some pretty good ones. I imagine
that Big Red Machine team.
They gave him the hardest time you can imagine.
Well, they gave each other the hardest time you could imagine.
He was around it too.
They credit that to part of their success at the plate because they didn't want to go back to the dugout and hear it from their teammates.
That's right.
Every time I'd stand up on the team plane. Sit down, Jim Gray. You call me Jim Gray. Just to get under my skin. Sit down, Jim Gray. And you could book it every time we landed. Junior is now a pilot himself. Every time we would land, you'd hear from the back of the plane, coming in hot.
That's a part about the game that you miss the most. The relationships with your teammates and that camaraderie and just that good-natured ribbing.
Oh man, he would just kill me on a daily basis. He pulled me in the middle of a team stretch before a game one day with 2 outs. I probably don't have time to tell the story, but I just had to sit and take it. DeJesus Jr. right field, but coming on getting it is Tomas. And a 1-2-3 inning. The Diamondbacks continue to lead. Game summary today. Once again, the Reds fell behind in the first, 1-0, but they erased it in the bottom half of the inning. Adam Duvall delivered a 2 RBI single. Wellington Castillo, 3-run bomb off of Brandon Finnegan, who gave up 3 long balls on this day in 5 innings of work. Reds rallied though. Ivan DeJesus Jr., a 3-run third, tied it up on this RBI hit. Can't keep the good man down. Paul Goldschmidt, first hit of the series, and it was a home run. Solo home run in the 5th. The Diamondbacks lead this one 8-5 as we move on to the 8th inning. Josh Smith stays into the game for his 2nd inning of work. He'll do battle with the 8th hitter, Yasmani Tomas. First pitch swinging, curving, foul.
Home run.
Nope. They didn't call that a home run. My bad, Cowboy. Yasmani Tomas. Second home run of the game.
Both came on breaking balls. And again, he is swinging early and often. Not a guy you have to throw a strike to, especially a hanging strike.
15 home runs now for Yasmani Tomas, and the lead is now 4. Suarez fields the ground ball. 1 out in the inning. Yasmani Tomas. The big fella. 3 hits on the day, 2 home runs and a single. Scored 3 runs.
Michael Bourne didn't waste any time.
Did not. First pitch swinging and a ground out. 5-3 on the putout for out number 1. Up the middle, base hit. Gene Segura. Second hit of the inning.
Game 1, game 2, Diamondbacks scoring in the first inning. That was it. Today they score in the first inning and they just kept right on chugging along.
Now Phil Gosselin. 2 hits today, including an RBI double back in the 6th. All right, I'll go back to the Junior story.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
So one day they're stretching, and my counterpart, I think it was with the Padres on this day. Right field, Bruce coming on, can't get it. Back-to-back base hits off of Josh Smith. Now first and second. Still only 1 out.
So he pulls you into the stretch group.
My counterpart for the Padres was a female reporter, and according to Griffey, an attractive female reporter. This happens often. Pulls me in the middle of the stretch and he says, "Let me get this straight. They got her." And he looked me up and down, and we got you.
Now this is in front of all the other guys.
This is in front of the whole team, who proceeded to wear me out on that subject every day the rest of the season. And still to this day, I hear it. They got her, and we got you. Thank you, Junior. I'll just go back and crawl under my rock again. Appreciate it.
You know, when I first got to the big leagues, all of that ragging and ribbing and detrimental talk kind of got under my skin a little bit. But I was told quite quickly by veteran Don Robinson, if they didn't like you, they wouldn't get on it. They'd just let you sit over there by yourself.
It's a good point. Are you saying Junior liked me?
He loved you.
Wow. I don't know if we go that far. Did have a good relationship. He was one of those guys that did not want to talk about himself. You ask him a question about himself, clam up. Ask him about anyone else or anything else, talk all day. In fact, I don't think there's been a player that's come through the Reds, I've been in this job, that I've talked more to at length in the clubhouse than Ken Griffey Jr.
I think that would be termed humility.
He just would talk your ear off. And he is amongst the funniest human beings on this planet. And it comes straight from his dad. who's an underrated funny guy. Goldschmidt, grounder to Suarez. Second to first. Double play.
Authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Be a part of Super Saturdays this season at GABP. Saturday, August 20th, thanks to Toyota, the first 25,000 fans will receive a USA Reds t-shirt. Show your USA pride when you see the Reds take on the Dodgers for only $12. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. New pitcher, it's righty Jake Barrett.
Reds saw Barrett in last night's game. Had a couple of strikeouts, a scoreless inning. He did give up a couple of hits.
Michael Bourne stays into the game. He's in left field. Owen Cabrera, his third at bat today. Rounded out, RBI single, walk. Eugenio Suarez on deck. One pitch. 1-2. Reds will head to San Francisco after this game today. A 6-game, 2-city road trip. Making us go to San Francisco and San Diego back-to-back.
The Reds have played pretty good the last few years out in San Francisco. San Diego, it's been a tough spot.
Giants have not been playing the best baseball coming out of the break. They lost their first 6 coming out of the break. Did win an extra inning affair against the Yankees yesterday. But in the bottom of the 8th, trail 5-2 at Yankee Stadium today. The Reds with a long flight west. The Giants will have an even longer one. Anthony DeSclafani versus righty Jake Peavy. Probable pitchers tomorrow night. Reds live at 9:30 Cincinnati time. 10:15 Eastern time. First pitch. I love those games in San Francisco. Cabrera, grounder, another high hop that Segura has to field. We saw him field one nicely at second base yesterday. Here at short today. Gets it done again.
Charging the ball. Ball had some serious topspin on it off the bat of Cabrera. Charging under control, able to make the play.
Now the first at bat in the game for Eugenio Suarez. First pitch strike. Cubs trailing the Brewers 2-0 bottom of the fifth. St. Louis and the Dodgers 8 o'clock Eastern time start. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Elsewhere in the Central, the Pirates leading the Phillies 5-4 bottom of the seventh. One pitch. Cubs 6.5 games ahead of St. Louis in the National League Central coming into today. One-two. Went chasing, came up empty. 2 outs. Stick around after the game. We'll put a capper on this one. We'd love to put a capper on a Reds rally. It's Reds Live, the post-game edition. It's brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Two outs, Billy Hamilton. Couple of hits today. Run scored, stolen base. He continues his solid play at the leadoff spot. Season average sitting at .255. But coming in the 12 games this season, batting leadoff, a .350 on base percentage. That's coming into today. Zach Kozar in the on-deck circle for the Reds.
Come back with that curveball here.
One-two.
Barrett will try to give you something soft out over the plate, running off the plate, and then try to bust you back on the inside on your hands.
Count's gone full. Payoff pitch. Announced crowd of 25,304 today. And many of those will stick around. It's Faith Day here at the Yard. Concert, a post-game concert by Mercy Me on the field. And if you follow that genre of music, Mercy Me, top shelf. Hamilton, Segura goes and gets it.
Highway robbery.
What a play. Take another look. Gene Segura going to his right, laying out, getting it done. We're off to the ninth. Has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Improve your golf game by tuning into the Golf Zone. Tonight, PGA Pro Jimmy Hanlon will give you terrific tips to lower your scores, plus a recap of this weekend's RBC Canadian Open. Get inside the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon, presented by American Eagle Mortgage and Varmint Guard, tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Ohio. Josh Smith stays into the game for his third inning. Top of the ninth. A pinch hitter. It's lefty Mike Freeman. First pitch called strike. One ball, one strike.
Freeman still trying to get a hit. For 6 on the year. He does have a walk, so he has gotten to run the bases a little.
Ground ball to Phillips. He'll still be seeking that first hit. 30 minutes before every Reds broadcast here on Fox Sports Ohio. It's Reds Live, the pregame edition. Everything you need to know to get ready for that day or night's game. Presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow night, as we'll kick off a 3-game set in San Francisco. DeSclafani versus Peavy tomorrow night. Cody Reed, Matt Cain, tango on Tuesday. Straley Bumgarner on Wednesday.
Peavy's been throwing the ball better. Cain, very difficult time. Bumgarner look out.
Bumgarner's pitching. It's like facing an American League team because he can swing it. He tried to no avail to get in that home run derby.
Yeah, I don't think too many front offices want their starting pitchers out there taking 60-something full bore swings, especially with all the oblique injuries that we have seen lately, and most of those come from pitchers at the plate.
Look out. Wellington Castillo hits the deck.
That pitch is not that far inside, but you can see Castillo, his upper body starts out over the plate. Once your body and your momentum start out over the plate as if to dive for the outside corner, you can't stop.
Ground ball to Suarez. Throw across. 2 outs. Steele grounds out this time, but back in the third, a Volkswagen drive of the game. 3-run home run off of Brandon Finnegan. 11th of the season for Castillo. Part of a big 9-run day for the Diamondbacks offense this afternoon. Two outs, Chris Owings. Reds winners of 6 of 8 coming into today on this 9-game homestand. Going to make it a 3-game sweep. They're going to have to rally big time in the bottom of the 9th.
Still within slam reach.
Dusty used to say, keep it within slam reach. They'll have the pitcher spot up, a pinch hitter. Lead off the bottom of the 9th, and Votto and Bruce.
I would imagine they would be doing that against Tyler Clippard. He has not pitched in this series.
Tyler Clippard has been warming up in the bullpen. Tyler Clippard, another one of those guys that's been, the Diamondbacks are going to make any moves at the trade deadline. GM Dave Stewart has said that they would like to keep their nucleus intact, but people looking for veteran relief help. Tyler Clippard could be one of those guys. It's Josh Smith. 1-2-3 9th inning. Last chance for the Reds. Brought to you by Miller Lite. We mentioned it earlier, but let's take you back to September 14th, 1990. Ken Griffey Sr. home run in a Mariners uniform. Next guy up is son Ken Griffey Jr. and unbelievably, he also goes opposite way for a home run. Back-to-back home runs, father and son.
That's incredible.
It really is.
I mean, just think about it. You're talking about age difference. I mean, it's one thing to play together, and even that, in my mind, is just off the hook. And then to play in a ball game where you both hit home runs and you hit them back to back.
Well, Senior always jokes, hey, we went back to back, but my home run went farther. Kid's not going to outdo me. But of course, boy, did he go on to outdo a lot of players. Tyler Clippard on to hopefully close the door if you're a Diamondbacks fan. He's got a 4-run lead. Zach Cozart got the day off from the starting lineup today. Pinch hitting here in the 9th.
Clippard, a busy man since 2010. 478 appearances. This would be 479.
That's a lot of pitching.
Straight over the top fastball, but his signature pitch is the changeup. Looks just like the fastball till it gets to the plate. You swing, it's not there yet.
And he walks Zach Cozart to lead off the 9th. Now Joey Votto. Reds need some base runners. Tyler Clippard, 31 years of age now. Born in Lexington, Kentucky. February 14th, 1985. Went to high school, though, in Florida, Newport Richey, Florida. Drafted by the New York Yankees in the 9th round of the 2003 amateur draft.
He had pitched all those years for the Nationals.
Yep.
Pitched for the Yankees last year after starting the year with Oakland.
He did the big leagues in 07 with the Yankees. Starter back then, started 6 games. The 6 appearances were all as a starter. Against lefties, good career.
And that's that changeup. He'll throw the fastball in under your hands and then feed you that changeup, and he can throw it for a strike right on the outside part of the plate.
One pitch to Votto. Got the left side entirely open. And again, the Reds need base runners. He was trying to get on, fouled it off.
Kind of held the bat at his hips there instead of extending it out in front of the eyes.
Now he's behind 1-2. We'll do the 1-2 again. Jay Bruce on deck. Votto 2 for 5 in his career off of Tyler Clippard. Gets past the catcher, and that'll be an easy stroll down to second base for Zach Cozart. Pass ball.
Almost looked like a knuckleball as it came out of the hand of Clippard.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Three and 2.
This is the part of the ball game, especially when you're down like this. Got an on-base guy at the plate. You just need Votto to get on some way, somehow, whether it be by walk, base hit, really doesn't matter at this point. Just need base runners.
Comes the 3-2. Fouls it off. Clippard looks back at Cozart and delivers the 3-2 again, and he walked him. Back-to-back walks given up by Tyler Clippard. Now first and second, nobody out for Jay Bruce. Reds would love to get Bruce on base and bring the tying run to the plate in the form of Adam Duvall. Bruce has bumped up that RBI total to 70. An RBI single back in the third, but he's 0 for 7 in his career versus Clippard with 2 strikeouts. Having trouble finding the strike zone. Again, could this be the final at bat in a Reds uniform at Great American Ballpark for Jay Bruce? That possibility does exist. Hits it well. Right field. Home run. If that's his last at bat at Great American Ballpark, he goes out in style.
It looked like a high changeup to Jay, and he just hit it right on the nose.
Just like that, it's a 1-run game and still nobody out.
Things change dramatically as far as strategy for Brian Price now.
Home run number 21, a 3-run shot and a big one.
The old saying goes, you play for the tie in the bottom of the ninth at home, the win on the road, and the Reds have a golden opportunity here if they can get a few more base runners aboard.
73 RBIs on the season now for Jay Bruce. First pitch to Adam Duvall. Way ahead. Duvall 1 for 2 in his career against Clippard.
And when you come in with a 4-run lead, as Clippard did, concentration not quite so finite. You're just trying to make pitches, get outs. All of a sudden, that 3-run home run, you better bear down in a hurry.
Clippard, quick pitches Duvall there, and he's ahead 0-2.
That ball went over the fence. His adrenaline went into DEFCON 1.
Trying to rally a 4-run deficit here in the bottom of the 9th. The 0-2 to Duvall. 1 out.
Chased a bad pitch there. Fastball way up and out of the strike zone.
Randall Delgado, the righty, up and throwing in the bullpen for Arizona.
Well, if Duvall had an opportunity to get aboard, or had he got aboard, you could have put a hit and run on, or a bunt, or something like that to move him to second base. Now with 1 out, you've got to hit your way to home plate.
First pitch to Phillips, nearly hit him. Phillips hitting streak at 12 games now. They're singling first 2 times up. Two and 0. Down the left field line, but foul. Two balls, 1 strike. Phillips representing the tying run. 3-1. Clippard bringing the 3-1 pitch, and it misses, and the tying run is aboard. 3rd walk of the inning given up by Tyler Clippard.
Chip Hale really pacing over in the Arizona dugout. Have to imagine that coming into this inning he was feeling pretty confident about a win, but after that swing of the bat by Jay Bruce, get a little fidgety.
One out, 1 on. Von DeJesus Jr. Fouls back the first pitch. DeJesus Jr. has faced Clippard 1 time, 0 for 1. Tying run at first base. Throw over. Phillips has been caught stealing more times than successful thefts. 5 steals, 6 caught stealing. Clippard would like to keep him close anyways, in case DeJesus sends one into the gap. One pitch.
Pretty good changeup. Start that right on the inside corner. Hitter sees it as a fastball. Clear the hips. Hands start to come through. That baby's not quite there yet.
Who stays alive.
You can see the action on Clippard's changeup when it's down. It has really got some downward movement to it.
Do the 1-2 again. Hitting. Cabrera on deck. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Tying run at first. Strike 3 call. The Diamondbacks an out away from escaping with a 1-run victory.
Got him on that changeup right on the inside corner. Looked like a split finger.
Two outs. It's Ramon Cabrera. 1 for 3. A walk. Delivered an RBI single back in the 3rd. We're over. Phillips leaning. Cabrera has never faced Tyler Clippard. Way out front.
Changeup when Clippard throws it. Looks like it has 4-seam rotation. The split finger looks like it has knuckleball rotation.
A stressful inning so far for Tyler Clippard. About to throw pitch number 30 of the inning. And here it comes. 1-1.
Clippard normally a strike thrower, especially down in the strike zone with his fastball, but today the fastball is up all over the place.
One pitch, swing and a miss. Reds are down to their final strike.
He just came right after Cabrera there. A fastball. Middle away, up.
One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Swing and a miss, and Tyler Clippard dances around disaster. Gets Cabrera. Back-to-back strikeouts of DeJesus Jr. and Ramon Cabrera to squeeze by with a 9-8 victory. And the D-backs avoid the 3-game sweep. Still a very successful homestand for the Reds. 3 consecutive series victories. 6-3 over their 9-game homestand. Despite the loss, they'll take a little momentum, get on the plane and head west for San Francisco. Reds Live, the post-game edition, is coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio.